The big sports news of the day is the signing of out and proud NFL athlete Michael Sam to the Dallas Cowboys practice squad.
That's right. And joining us now to discuss this story is educator, activist, and former pro football player Wade Davis. He made headlines of his own when he came out of the closet in 2012. Wade, welcome to Arise 360.
Thank you for having me on.
So, quick question. How do you think Dallas fans will receive Michael Sam? Because, I mean, we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys here. I mean, this is the traditional all-American, America's team, yes.
Yeah. I actually think because the Cowboys live and breathe Jerry Jones, and because Jerry Jones made a decision to have the faith to know that his fans, his players could accept someone being openly gay, I think that there'll be a mixture in the beginning, but I think once you get past week 2, week 3, week 4, no one will actually even think about the fact that there's a gay Cowboy.
But what do you think the issue is on the team? Is the whole locker room thing? What could the problem be?
To be honest with you, I actually think the players are actually great. You know, I've had a chance to go around and speak at multiple teams. I spoke at the Rams, at the Giants, at the Vikings, and all of these players actually only care about can Michael Sam help them win games. You know, I actually think that there is just kind of a media circus that kind of follows Michael Sam around that really scares off coaches, because coaches are like, hey, I want to control every aspect of my team. You know, I don't want the media asking questions, so can I at some point kind of keep the media out of it so we can just focus on the sport of football?
Now, you actually met with Sam before he came out of the closet. What was your conversation like? What advice did you give him?
It's funny. So I've known Michael Sam for a while now, and Michael's one of the, so I mentor a lot of LGBT athletes, and Michael was one of the few that didn't need any type of mentoring. What Michael wanted was a friend. You know, he really hadn't met a lot of other gay athletes, so he wanted to go clubbing, right? He wanted to go out partying. You know, so we went clubbing, we went dancing, we shared stories, because I'm a Southerner too. He's from Texas, so we laughed, we joked. He really wanted family and community within the LGBT community.
Now, when Michael was drafted to the Rams, he famously kissed his boyfriend on television live for the world to see. What was going through your head when you saw that?
To be honest with you, I was smiling. I was really proud of ESPN for actually showing that, but I also felt that there was kind of a slap in the face of masculinity, of the heterosexual type of masculinity that we imagine to be around sports, right? That during one of the biggest weekends in sports, you get to watch two men kiss. That's never happened before during the sport of football, right? So what does that mean for a young gay boy who's watching this, thinking that, wow, maybe football is for me, maybe sports is a space where I can be accepted in.
Just how big a deal was that moment?
I don't think there was a bigger deal ever in the history of sports, just because, you know, the NFL is this very hegemonic masculine space, but to see gay love happen in that moment is a transformative time.
Did you ever think you'd see it in your lifetime?
I thought I'd see it, but not in my 30s.
Not in your 30s?
Definitely not in my 30s.
Well, while you were playing, you were actually still in the closet. I mean, you played for the Redskins and the Tennessee Titans. Were you ever afraid of being outed, or someone may see something or catch you looking at someone or anything? I
wasn't afraid of that. Like, I would say that I lived in this space of double consciousness, right? Where when you're one way to your teammates and your family and your friends, but when you're alone in your own silence, you're actually for the first time yourself. But to kind of play that acting role, you know, just becomes so exhausting. I remember one time I was watching film, and I was watching myself run around, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I look gay. Like, I'm running gay, I'm standing gay, you know, and
what did that mean in your mind? What did gay look like to you?
It looked like someone could see through my shield, right? It looked like someone could see inside of my soul and go, wow, like, that dude doesn't run like the rest of us. But there is no one way to run. Like, there is no one type of masculinity.
Exactly.
But at that moment, I couldn't see anything else but people seeing through to my soul and going, is this guy gay? And should he be allowed to be with us?
You mentioned feeling exhausted. How exhausting is that to live that dual, to have that dual identity?
The only way that I can explain it is that imagine that that you never sleep. You never ever get to sleep, and then when you do sleep, you're still dreaming of being yourself at some moment, and that moment never ever happens. And then you have to lie and then remember a lie and then add on to those lies. So it just becomes a never-ending cycle of exhaustion.
But was it ever even an option for you to come out while you were playing? And what do you think would have happened?
Well, it's funny because, like, you know, people always think that sports is a space that doesn't allow an athlete to be gay, but I wasn't out in high school. I wasn't out in college. I didn't come out after I retired playing. So it's really the society that we live in doesn't always create the right environment for a gay man to stand up and, well, a gay person in general to stand up and say, hey, this is who I really am. So it was less about sports. It was more about how I grew up understanding what it meant to be gay.
So what made you decide to finally come out?
Well, at that time, I was dating a guy who was truly amazing, and I was still not out. And he said, look, I love you. I want to be with you, but I won't exist invisibly for you. So I made a conscious choice to say, wow, like, I don't want to lose the best thing that's ever happened to me just because I'm afraid of who. Like, I wasn't playing ball anymore. Like, I was living in New York City. No one really knew who I was. So it was really me still living in that same old world that I kind of had on replay. And, like, I was in a new world.
So take us back to the moment when you decided to come out publicly. How did it feel? Was it a weight lifted off? And how did people react?
So I was working at an organization called Hendrick Martin. And it's a youth-serving organization that caters its services to LGBTQ youth who are predominantly homeless or are living in poverty. And I met so many amazing heroes and sheroes that were 15 years old and they were out.
Wow.
And someone reached out to me, a friend of mine named Sid Ziegler, and he asked, can I write your story? And I said, you can write my story if you tell their story, if you talk about the work that I'm doing. So not only can my story be used to shine light on homophobia in sports, but also the living conditions that youth of color primarily face in this city.
Really quickly, let's talk about the You Can Play Foundation. Tell us about your charity work.
So You Can Play, I'm the ED there. It was started by 3 gentlemen, and the goal was to really create a safe environment for athletes in sports. So what we're trying to do now is educate athletes, coaches, and everyone that, hey, like, if you create the right culture where your athletes feel safe to come out, you will immediately get a better player. And if you want your team to be successful, you want all of your players to be able to live in their own truth.
So what does the future hold for gay athletes in America?
I would say that over the next 5 to 10 years, this will no longer be a conversation. That it'll just be accepted, that players will actually have changed their idea of masculinity and femininity.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
In the next 5 years?
5 to 10 years.
Really?
5 to 10 years. I'm working my tail off.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't sleep now, you know. So,
okay,
yeah.
well, we'll hold you to that and have you back to discuss more about
Thank
it.
you so very much.
Thank you. And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.